I became the other woman in a married man's life, and I didn't even know it. Asterisk, I didn't expect a random Thursday night shift to change the way I look at people forever. I'm 27, a bartender in a small vacation town, the kind of place where strangers come and go. And no one remembers your name unless you pour their drink strong enough. That night, the bar was quiet, just me, the music humming low, and one man sitting by himself near the end of the counter. He was older, maybe mid-40s, a little shy, the kind of quiet confidence that makes you lean in without realizing it. He ordered something simple, whiskey neat, and smiled politely when I handed it to him. We started talking, small talk at first, then something more. He told me he was here for work, helping kids with disabilities. His voice softened when he mentioned them, and that detail stuck with me. He wasn't just another traveler trying to flirt with the bartender. At least that's what I thought. By the end of my shift, he'd stayed for almost 3 hours. I don't usually flirt with customers, but with him it felt natural. As he left, he slid a napkin toward me. His number. I remember staring at it after he walked out, feeling that little rush of curiosity. The next morning, I texted him. I don't know why, maybe I just wanted to see if that connection was real. He replied right away. From that point, we started messaging every day. He came back a few days later during my next shift, smiling like he'd been waiting for it. After I finished work, he asked me if I wanted to grab drinks somewhere quieter. I wanted to badly, but I had an early flight for a wedding. I said maybe next time. Next time came faster than I expected. When I got back from the wedding, there was a message waiting, back in town. Still owe you a drink. I stared at it for a few minutes before replying yes. That night, we met at a small bar near the marina. It was one of those cool, windy evenings when the air feels alive. He looked even better outside the dim light of my workplace. Clean shirt, calm eyes, easy smile. At first, it was light conversation. But then I asked him something that had been on my mind. So, were you ever married? He didn't even hesitate. Yeah, he said. Divorced. We were together a long time, just grew apart. Then he changed the subject. Something about the way he said it, so casual, made me believe him. I told myself he was being honest. When he walked me to my car later that night, I asked if I could kiss him. He smiled and said, "You don't need to ask." We kissed. And for a moment, everything felt perfect. Over the next few weeks, the texting turned from friendly to flirty. He'd say things like, "Wish I could see you tonight," or "You looked beautiful behind the bar." It wasn't explicit, not quite, but it was heading there. I told myself I was just having fun. He was older, interesting, different. And I liked the attention. But then, tiny red flags began to appear. He never texted at night. He never called, always messages. And somehow, I realized I didn't even know his last name. One night, while we were chatting, he mentioned bringing his dogs on his next trip. I asked, "Who watches them when you're gone?" He said, "Friends." Then I joked, "Maybe I could visit you next time, save your friends the trouble." His reply, "We could certainly work on that." That sentence, something about it made my stomach drop. It was polite, guarded, like someone afraid to commit to even a casual promise. I couldn't shake it off. That night, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying every detail. How he'd avoid personal questions. How he never posted anything on social media, at least nothing public. How I didn't know a single person in his life. Finally, I picked up my phone. I knew his first name and where he worked. That was enough. It took 3 searches. When his full name appeared, I clicked and my heart stopped. His profile photo was from a wedding, his wedding. A bright, sunlit picture of him holding a woman's hand, both of them beaming. The post date? Just over a year ago, he wasn't divorced. He wasn't single. He was celebrating his first anniversary while texting me about all the things he wanted to do next time we met. I just sat there. The silence in my apartment felt heavy, like the air had been sucked out of the room. Then came the anger. Not wild rage, more like betrayal mixed with shame. I wanted to scream. I wanted to text him and ask why. But I did in single quotes T. Instead, I opened my camera roll and started taking screenshots, every conversation. Every lie disguised as charm. I didn't want revenge. I wanted his wife to know the truth. Because if I were her, I'd want to know. Still, I hesitated. I wasn't trying to ruin anyone's life. What if she already knew? What if she didn't believe me? What if she blamed me? I asked my closest friends what they'd do. Every one of them said the same thing: tell her. So I planned it. He told me earlier that he had a doctor's appointment one afternoon. I figured that would be my window. She'd have time to process before he got home. I typed out the message carefully. I told her who I was, how we met, what he'd said about being divorced. I attached screenshots. I apologized over and over. I asked her not to tell him it came from me, not because I was scared of him, but because I didn't want to make it about me. Then I hit send. The message was delivered. I stared at it for hours, waiting for the little seen icon to appear. It never did. The next day, still nothing. So I blocked her, blocked him, and deleted every message. But the wait didn't go away. He was supposed to come back into town that week. He knew my schedule. My coworkers knew the story, just in case. I wasn't really afraid, just tired of believing people at face value. Tired of thinking that decency was the default. That night, I sat at home with a glass of wine, staring at his wedding photo again. She looked so happy. And I wondered, was she looking at him the same way I had at first? Like he was safe. Like he was good. The truth is, I learned more about myself than about him. I learned that charm means nothing without honesty. That age doesn't equal maturity. And that sometimes your intuition is the only thing trying to protect you. If he just listens soon enough, if his wife ever sees this, I'm sorry. You didn't deserve this. Neither did I, but I hope somehow the truth finds you, even if it had to come from a stranger behind a bar. It's been 3 weeks since I told his wife. 3 weeks since I hit send on that message and sat there staring at the screen, waiting for a reaction that never came. No reply. No message. Just silence. At first, I thought she hadn't seen it. Maybe it went to her message requests. Maybe she ignored it. Maybe she was in denial. But then I noticed her Facebook profile disappear for a few days. That's when it hit me. Maybe the silence was her answer. Maybe she already knew. Or maybe she found out and her whole world broke in private. Meanwhile, I couldn't shake the anxiety. Every time my phone buzzed, I jumped. Every time the bar door opened, I looked up too fast. He was supposed to come back that week for work. And then, one night, he did. It was a Thursday, the same night of the week we first met. He walked in like nothing had happened, calm, polished, that same fake smile. He sat at the counter, his usual spot, and for a moment the whole room felt smaller. I kept my voice steady. "Whiskey neat?" He nodded. His ring finger was bare. When I set his drink down, he finally spoke. "Did you tell her?" I stared at him, pretending not to understand. He smiled, that slow, smug kind of smile that used to fool me, and said, "She left me. Guess you weren't as good at covering your tracks as you thought." My hands were shaking, but I forced a calm tone. "I didn't ruin your life." "You did." He didn't respond. Just looked at me for a long second, finished his drink, and said, "You'll regret this." My coworker noticed the tension and walked over. "Everything okay here?" I smiled. "Yeah, he was just leaving." And he did. No dramatic scene, no shouting. Just that eerie calm, like a man who finally realized his mask had cracked. That was the last time I ever saw him. After that night, something inside me changed. I stopped looking at strangers the same way. Every kind smile feels a little suspicious now. Every number on a napkin feels like a test. But I also learned something. Truth hurts less than lies, even when it burns. I don't know what happened between him and his wife after that. Maybe they divorced. Maybe they're pretending everything's fine. Maybe she's reading this right now, wondering if I'm the girl from that message. Sometimes I still ask myself, did I do the right thing? Was it my place to tell her? Would it have been kinder to stay silent, let her keep her peace a little longer? I'll never know. All I know is that I couldn't live with the lie. Because the moment you realize you've become the other woman, you only have two choices: hide or stop the cycle. I chose to end it, and maybe, just maybe, that was the right thing.
If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next stories.